It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Say it again. Okay.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Holy Cross assistant women's lacrosse coach, Coach Joelle Prata. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's lacrosse?
So I did not know that I wanted to coach women's lacrosse in college. I had intentions of going to grad school and becoming a therapist after college. Those were my plans. I transferred from St. Andrews to Lees McRae, so I lost some credits along the way. And was going to have to take an extra semester to finish those credits before I could actually graduate. So it was delaying my graduate school process. And then my final semester at Lees McRae, they found a way to add a class to my schedule, and then I could take 7 credits when I was, in that middle period, so during the summer, and that I would be able to graduate on time, which kind of threw off my whole process because I was like, okay, well, I have no plans now. Like I need to take the GRE. I need to, go home and study for grad school and apply to grad schools and all this stuff. And my lacrosse coach, Lexi King, actually was the one who was like, I think that there's some grad programs that you could, coach, because I was really bummed about getting out of lacrosse. She was like, you could coach for a year, get your master's, and then, go do the therapist thing afterwards. So we found a program that was kind of suitable for that realm, and it was only a year and a half program. So I was like, oh, I'll do that, and then if I need to, get a certificate in something else or do anything else for school afterwards, I'll do that. Um, and so that's how I got started in coaching. It took me 2 weeks to realize that I did not want to be a therapist and that I wanted to keep coaching. Um, and that was kind of how it got started for me, was my GA program.
What was that experience like going to college and playing lacrosse for two different programs?
So I am a rare case where I played for 2 different programs, but I played under the same coach. So my coach, Lexi King, was at St. Andrews for 2 years. My sophomore year, she told me that she was leaving, and that she was going to a school called Lees McRae, which was her alma mater. I knew that that was something that she had always wanted to do in her career, and that was something that she had been excited about, since getting into coaching, was that she always wanted to go back to her alma mater. So I knew it was a special place. I knew that there was, a lot of potential there. So I went and visited the school. I applied to a couple other schools just because I knew I didn't want to stay at St. Andrews if it wasn't playing for her. They always tell you not to pick your school based off of your coach, and I did not listen to that advice. So I ended up looking at other schools and decided that I wanted to go to Lees McRae. And so I was really lucky in the sense that I played for 2 different programs and got to experience 2 different teams. Um, but I was lucky enough to play under the same person, and I kind of got to get. I was able to kind of be coached for my 4 years in, in its entirety, and it was it was really special to be able to play for 2 different programs, but you know be coached by the same person.
During that time, what was it like getting to put on two different jerseys and representing two different programs?
um it was cool. It was a good experience. I got to wear 2 different numbers. I was 2 for my first 2 years. I was a captain at St. Andrews my sophomore year. So it was it was an experience. It was cool. It was different, and not a lot of people get to say that they were able to suit up for 2 different teams. And I definitely feel like that's, special in my case where I played at an NAIA program for a school that was, middle of the pack and then went to a D2 program to another middle of the pack program. Um, but it was fun. I met a lot of great people and I created a lot of great relationships and it was it was a good time. It was definitely an experience that I wouldn't change. Going from St. Andrews and then moving to Lise McRae, where I ended up becoming a captain my senior year. It was great just to be able to lead two different teams.
For you, coming out of college, what was that experience like getting into coaching and going as a grad assistant to Tusculum?
It was tricky. It was weird to be the same age as the girls that I was coaching. There were seniors on the team who were literally my age, and it was, you have to find those boundaries and you have to find those parameters and to how you're coaching them because it's like somebody looking at you, like one of your friends looking at you and being like, all right, get on the line. Like, are you going to take me seriously or no? Um, but it was it was it was a good experience. It definitely threw me into the water head first, and I had to kind of just figure it out and you know go through errors and find the success in that. But it was a good experience. I liked being able to be a young coach and relate to the girls and kind of give them that that option of on their coaching staff, or they could come to me and talk to me on a human level and feel like I was relating to them and understanding them. But yeah,
During that time, what was that experience like being the head coach for them?
so that was crazy. um, I still look back. I'm 30 now. I was 23 going on 24 then. Crazy. Um, Being so young and being given a program that had, just started and was just getting its feet on the ground it had a lot of challenges and it was tricky in a lot of ways, but I I mean, I say it all the time, and maybe this sounds bad to some people, but I grew up with those girls. I'm figuring out how to be a coach, and I'm figuring out how I want to run my program, and I'm not doing that as an assistant. I'm doing that as a head coach. So there's not a lot of room for trial and error. Um, you kind of have to just like hope for the best and go for it. But I loved my experience as a young head coach. I loved being able to work with those girls and coach them and relate to them at the same time and give them the experience that I had as a player with my coach. Um, I know you see a lot of that now where there's a lot of people who just did not have a good experience in college and did not get along with their coaches and just didn't have that kind of relationship. But I was really lucky to have a good, strong relationship with my coach that I still call her to this day. Um, it it was great being able to give that to the girls and knowing that they could trust me and that they could come to me with things beyond lacrosse. I still get phone calls from a lot of those girls to this day. So,
During that time, what were some of the things that you were able to accomplish as a first time head coach?
so accomplish is a tricky word for me because that was so I was 23 going on 24 taking over a program that was the program's um, sixth, fifth or sixth season at the time. Um, and then COVID hit. So it was quite quite the journey. Um, Getting girls in the field and building a culture felt like an accomplishment. There weren't a lot of X's and O's that I was really banking on to give me that kind of satisfaction and that kind of accomplishment. But a lot of my success, I feel, and what I claim as my success from there is being able to build a culture where girls just wanted to step on the field and they wanted to play for each other, for the program, and for the school. But yeah, accomplishment is a tough word for me on that one.
What was that transition like for you going from being a head coach to coming to Holy Cross and being assistant coach?
It was different. It was a lot of fun. I had only been an assistant for a year before I was a head coach. And being a GA, I don't know if you know you know a lot about GA work, but it is not the shiny, pretty stuff. You're doing a lot of grunt work. You're doing a lot of, especially at a D2, like a lot of laundry, a lot of that. I loved being able to kind of sit back and not have to be the person that everybody was looking at to make decisions. It was nice to kind of just see how somebody else would do things and see how somebody else would handle situations. Um, I love being an assistant. I miss sometimes being a head coach just for little nuancy things, but the transition was much easier than I thought it was going to be, from making my own schedule and calling my own shots to, you know, working with somebody else's schedule and kind of going with their calls. Um, it's been a lot of fun though.
For you coming to Holy Cross, what was that experience like joining the coaching staff of Coach Belichick?
It was great. Um, so when I came in, there was one other assistant, the second assistant who was going to work with both of us on both sides of the field. Um, it, yeah, no, it was, how do I even explain this? Like, it was great because we were a brand new staff. Um, we were figuring out how to work with each other. She had come off of like a few months stint where she didn't have anybody, she hadn't hired yet. I know she was kind of just looking for specific people to come in, and she wanted certain things about her assistants to be true. And so waiting for the right assistants and waiting for the right people to come in and apply for the position, I think was a big piece. So knowing that that was me and the other assistant at the time, Emily Dorsanio, was it was really cool. We got to work out a lot of little kinks. Me coming in and being a first time or second time assistant, and that was Emily's first job as an assistant as well. She was fresh out of college. So there was a lot of different perspective on the staff. We had somebody who had been there for a while, somebody who had kind of been in the game for a little bit of time, and then somebody who was brand new to the game. So it was, the dynamic was definitely spread in experience, and it was cool.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to help to build for the women's lacrosse program?
Yes. Um, I am extremely proud of our culture here. I would attribute most of our success, if not all of our success that we've had the last couple of years, to our culture. The girls who are here have worked extremely hard to buy in and get their teammates to buy in, and they have worked tirelessly to address problems and talk to each other and get on the same page. The culture here is unreal. It's one of my favorite things to talk about with recruits and other people because I'm just so proud of it. Um, these girls love each other. They work hard for each other. They play together. It's more than I could ask for.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your players?
Well, the girls are getting ready physically. They're doing wall ball, they're, shooting around, they're getting shots, they're playing spike ball. I know spike ball is a big thing for them on game day. Um, and I am sitting in my office anxiously awaiting our pregame talk. Um, so very, very different worlds going on here. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. Um, a game day for me is just getting a good breakfast in, having my coffee, walking my dog, and just having a good relaxing morning to try to calm some of the game day jitters, and then just anxiously waiting to go into that locker room.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Some of the teams that we compete against, we play a plethora of different teams. So we're in the Patriot League. Um, we have Lafayette, Lehigh, Colgate, Army, Navy, Bucknell, Loyola, American. Oh God, I'm forgetting somebody. That's gonna be bad. Maybe we bleep that out. Um, we we have some tough competition in the Patriot League. We play very competitive teams who are playing other very competitive teams. Loyola being, the top of the conference, just extremely, extremely tough and gritty team. They're playing teams that are making them better, and they're, advancing to the national tournament, you know, year after year. We have teams like Navy who are constantly just, getting better, and then they have like these waves of of people coming in. Like they have this incredible freshman, who I think is just going to be, a great success for them. But we play a lot of tough competition. I know Army just beat Stanford, who's, ranked top 10 in the country. So it's very good competition. It's tough. It's challenging, but there's a lot of room for growth and a lot of room to find success.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Brown and Lehigh comes to home versus going away to Army and Navy?
Um, I would say there's a level of comfortability, when we play at home. I think that playing these really tough teams at home is definitely an advantage. When we're home, it's a more comfortable atmosphere. We're not traveling. There's no change of schedule. There's no kind of, riffraff in that situation or in that sense. It's electric to play at home. I think that there's no better feeling than playing at home. I think that going to stadiums like Armies and Navies can be, slightly intimidating, but also invigorating because you're in these like historical stadiums, like these famous stadiums that you've heard about for years and people always talk about, and like, oh, you get to go to Army, you get to go to Navy, like, there are these highly sought after venues. So I feel really lucky when we play places like that. But definitely just very excited and comfortable to play at home.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in them?
Um, can you say that again, the last part of that question?
What does that prospective student athlete process look like? And what do you look at in them as coaches?
So our our recruiting process is for me a lot of fun. Um, we get to know athletes on the field all all beginning of the recruiting process. So all summer, through a little bit of the fall. But we get to know them on the field. We watch them, we study them, we love who they are as athletes, and then we get to bring them on campus, show them our school, and get to know them as people. That is a big, big piece for us when we're recruiting. I think in the context of culture and making sure that we're recruiting the same type of kid that we have, um, and making sure that we are keeping that rhythm of personality and, energy, and drive, I think is important. So we definitely look for, just good people, people who want what we want success, and want to put in a lot of good effort.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen putting on that Holy Cross uniform for the first time versus the seniors putting it on for the last time?
That's such a good question. It is, it's like it's so bittersweet. So this is my first full class that I've had since they were freshmen. So I got to see the senior class this year that put on their home jersey for the last time next weekend. I got to see them put it on for the first time, and I've watched them, go from nervous freshmen who were scared to play against fifth years to seniors who are taking on matches and face guards who are like, oh yeah, like no problem. Like I've been doing this. Like they're so confident at this point. Um, Watching them put it on for the first time is exciting. um, I'm just so happy for them to be starting their journey and starting their experience. Um, and then watching them put it on for the last time is bittersweet, but also just like so great knowing that they put in 4 years of hard work, and each of them had different experiences and each of them had different journeys. When you come in as a freshman class, you kind of have no idea what you're going to go through in those 4 years, and then your senior year, you're just riddled with experience and stories to tell and bus rides had, and um, it's definitely bittersweet watching both of them.
What is that like getting to see them achieve those first big milestones in their careers versus their last big milestone?
Um, I would say that it feels the same through and through. I'm always excited for them to start achieving their goals and start setting records for themselves and then breaking them. It's really cool to see seniors be like, oh, I really want to like beat my game high. I really want to beat my career high this game. And coming off the field when they score that goal or get that ground ball or get that cause turnover or draw control, whatever it is, and they're like, oh, I hit it, I got it. Like Tori Ryder, one of our juniors, just broke her career high for goals scored in the game, and she had set it before she scored that final goal to set the record. Right before she went back on the field, she was like, oh, really, really want it. I really think I can get it today. Like I really think I can get it. We were like, of course you can. Like let's do this. And it's always so exciting to see, them hype themselves up and like get ready to go and break those records and set those personal goals for themselves. So I think the whole journey itself from freshman year to senior year is really cool to just see the progression.
What are some of your future plans for the Holy Cross Women's Lacrosse program moving forward?
Sky's the limit. Um, we want to be better. We want to be bigger. We want everybody to know that we are a force to be reckoned with. Um, we want a harder schedule. Um, we want a conference championship. There's there is no there's no limit on what I want here.
What advice would you have those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college lacrosse?
Um, have fun. I think that's what I would say. Have fun. It's hard. It's an adjustment. You're going from being a senior and, being the, can you hear me still? Okay. Um, Being the best on the team to, you know, starting brand new and being a freshman. Um, have fun and don't take yourself too seriously. You only get 4 years of it and you want to make the best of it. So have fun.
What advice would you have those seniors that have aspirations of playing Athletes Unlimited
Say that again. What aspirations would it,
or playing professionally in Athletes Unlimited?
um I would say just keep working at it. I haven't had any players go from college to AU. I've had a couple of friends play in the AU um, league. They love it. They have a lot of fun. I think any advice that I would say to give to somebody who's looking to play in it is I think just be confident. Know who you are and and let everybody know exactly what you came to do. I think that again, it's just another transition from being somebody who has experience in that realm to being somebody who doesn't have experience in that realm. Um, Go do what you came to do, be confident, and be who you are.
What advice would you have those future coaches that are looking to get started in coaching on the lacrosse side?
I would give any future coaches the advice of patience. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your team, be patient with your staff. I think it can be a stressful and scary time to kind of transition from college to coaching and starting in this world. But it's a lot of fun and it's really, really rewarding. Um, so be patient with yourself, be patient with your girls, and success will come. And the the little wins are everywhere.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
You can find me on social media on Instagram at Cojopra, Cojopra. And then on Twitter, I'm Coach Prata. And I think that's it. And then our Instagram handle for the team, I don't want to mess this up and give somebody the wrong information. We are H Cross W Lax.
Thank you again, Coach Joelle Prata, for your interview and best luck in your future at Holy Cross as the assistant women's lacrosse coach.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for having me.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you so much.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.